साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःशुराशुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथाष्टादशोऽध्यायः। So moksha sannyasa yoga. So liberation, renunciation is the main topic of this particular chapter. See, last time we saw the 20th verse that we had again. Let us just see that once more, because very important sloka. So it's about knowledge, sattvika knowledge. What does it say? Know that knowledge to be sattvika, that means by which one perceives the singular. Singular ke this thing was the slokala enaikam word was there. Then imperishable, avyayam, and undivided, avibhaktam. So know that knowledge to be sattvika. Which knowledge? By which one perceives the singular, imperishable, and undivided presence in all the manifold beings. That is vibhakteshu. So this is the thing talked about. Is it practically possible? That is the question. See, singular to some extent we can understand. It's only Brahman is only one, singular. Imperishable, that also avyayam, and undivided, avibhaktam. So this type of presence we must be able to see in all vibhakteshu, manifold, many beings. So what does it mean really? How to see that? See like that? It's see, the meaning seems to be clear, but how do we do that? How do we go about it? See, what happens once it is clearly understood? See, understanding something really experiences something different. Understanding, I think this nobody can object. This is there everywhere. I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. So such person in the normal life, what happens? There is a slokam in Shivamanasa Puja, I think 3rd or 4th sloka. Atma Tvam Girija Matihi Sahachara Pranaha Shariram Graham Sariram Graham Pujate Vishayayo Upagaga Vishaya po Bhoga Rachana Vishaya po Bhoga Rachana. So whatever we experience, the Vishayas of the world, Bhoga Rachana. Then Nidra Samadhi Sthitihi Sanchara Padayo Pradikshina Vidihi Stotrani Sarva Giroho Yat Yat Karma Karomi Tad Yat Akilam Shambho Tau Aradhana. See, what does it mean? Actually feeling the presence of the Supreme inside and everywhere. Once it is experienced inside, it becomes obvious that it is everywhere. So, how does he feel in day-to-day activities? So he says, he addresses to, of course, Shiva, that means Brahman. You are myself. Myself is you. You are myself. My intelligence, that is my mind, is Girija. Actually, Purusha and Prakriti. The Prakriti is Girija. So you are myself. That is, myself is you. Aham Brahmasmi. My intelligence is Girija. That means that Prakriti is Girija. So therefore, my life forces means what? Sense organs are your attendants, because you are inside. Whatever is sense organ does, they are all your attendants. Whatever is required, they do. See, this sort of feeling, one will slowly develop. Whatever we do, then my body is your temple, because Atma is you, so my body is your temple. So experiencing the world, that means whatever you see in the world is your worship, whatever I see. Now I am seeing the laptop, this cell phone and all these things. It is your worship, because it's all happening that we have seen many times inside. Whatever is seen, its image is seen inside. That image is seen inside means that itself is Brahman. So, this point one has to really grasp. Experience the world, it happens inside, and the mind is, already we told, Girija. So, whatever is happening goes through is your worship, Aradhana. And my sleep is the state of Samadhi. Of course, to some extent we can understand. It is almost like Samadhi. Even though awareness is not there because of the Tamoguna, that doesn't matter. So it is almost like a Samadhi. Then what else we do? Walking here and there. So walking with the 2 feet, it is Pradakshina Vidhi. So going around you. That is circumambulating you. That is the wording they use. That means prajakshana, doing prajakshana. Wherever I go. Then, because everything is that only. See, the clarity should be there. So all the time this is happening. There is no regret, oh, I am doing this and whatever I do, it's your worship. And the words and speeches are stotras about you. Whatever you talk about a film or politics, whatever is talked about is your stotras. See, then whatever action I perform, O Lord Sambho, is your worship alone. Whatever aradhana, avaradhana, that was the wording used. So whatever is done is your. So the clarity, if it is there, I mean, there won't be even necessity to go to here in the morning pray. Everything is that only. Whatever is done. So this sort of feeling the presence of the Supreme inside and everywhere. The effect of our sadhana is like this only. Oh, I have not done this, so I am watching the cricket or IPL and all these things. It doesn't matter. It all happens inside and it's all your worship or aradhana, whatever is called. And when you go around, wherever you go, it is your pradakshina. This sort of bhava, it will be automatic once it is understood. There is no difference. That is, I am doing something non-spiritual and all these things. It will not arise at all. Whatever is done, it is spiritual. There won't be any difference between spiritual activity and other normal ones. So it is told in a different way, same thing, by another sloka. This also we have seen earlier. Hanuman, he says to Rama, when Rama asks him, Deha Buddhya Tada Soham, that means I am your servant, Daso, Tad Dasoham, Deha Buddhya Tad Dasoham. When I feel that when I have that, that is, I am the body feeling, then I am your servant, Daso. Jiva Buddhya, when I thinking or saying something in a mind-oriented action, then I know that Jiva Buddhya Svat Amshaka. I am your, one of you, I am your part. It is coming in 15th chapter also. But that is, everybody is my Amsa and in 15th chapter, that spoken. So that is also, it's obvious. Then Atma Buddhya, when I am doing meditation, I am at that level, Atma. There is no difference. Tvam Evaham, I and you are same. So my mind says this is the truth. Iti me nischita matihi. So in whatever he does, bodily or mentally, and so only thing here he says, there when I am doing my bhava is, I am your dasa. When he does something physically. Mentally means, I am a part of you. Mind is a part. Then Atma Buddhya Tvam Evaham. There is no difference between you and me. See, when we are doing meditation, when thoughts are totally absent, that alone, that pure consciousness alone is present. When the thought arises, it is coming from where? It is, when you say mind, it is also part of this only. That's why I am, when I use my mind, I am your part. Here also there is no doubt at all. When we talk, when we think, when we do anything, the mind is doing, mind is nothing but the consciousness in which thoughts are happening, appearing rather. So that we call it mind, but otherwise there is no difference. So Jiva Buddhya Svat Amshaka. Then Atma Buddhya Tvam Evaham. So when there are no thoughts at all, same thing is called consciousness. When thoughts are there, same thing is called mind. And when the mind thinks, or I am the body. So when you say I am sick, means you mean that the body is sick. But we say, so use the word I am. So when it is done like that, and when I do something with the body, whatever is done, I am doing it for you. And just now we saw, Atmatvam. Like that, whatever is done, it is your aradhana. So this bhava, in the bhava will come once it is understood. Once we have this bhava and we call it sadhana, there we call it, meditation or samadhi sthiti. After understanding, this continues. Even now it is only, there is only one being. So, and we are all included in that. So whatever is done, it is done for you. That means Atmatvam. So you are the Atma. That is what is inside. So whatever we do, it is around you. That means it is either it is I think of you or I do something, means it is a worship to you. So this bhava will continue automatically. This particular, that feeling in Gita, this also we have seen the last class as well as earlier. Very important verse. This 14th chapter, 19th verse. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drishtanu pashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam sodigacchati. When the seer, that's what here it says, drishta is the seer. When the seer does not see any doer other than the gunas, that is guna, the doer means it is because of guna. Anything done, it is propelled by the gunas only. And he also perceives that ultimate, that supreme, which transcends the gunas. So such seer, when the seer does not see any doer other than gunas and also perceives that supreme which transcends the gunas, then he attains my state. My state means he attains supreme. That kartritvam, bhoktritvam, totally it vanishes. Because when I am awake, the waking state, whatever is done, it is by gunas. I have nothing to do with that, because I am that. So that which transcends is, that also he understands, that Atma only. It is all the time, it is unaffected. So this sort of the understanding and feeling and practicing will always keep us in that level. So this particular sloka of Bhagavad Gita, it is a fundamental sloka, fundamental statement, and it contains all spiritual instructions which is useful to attain liberation. So this fundamental statement contains all spiritual instructions to attain liberation. What does it say? Nature, that means Prakriti, propels all activities through its gunas. We have seen in 3rd chapter, 27th verse also. Nature propels all activities through its gunas. So, let us not condemn any activity, whatever is done. It is because of the gunas, it's all happening. The gunas, how they work? The gunas work around a pivot, and they cannot touch that pivot at all. That means the gunas work around a pivot which they cannot touch at all. The inmost presence is above gunas. It transcends gunas. See everyone as the pivot, which is around which the gunas work. So, see everyone as the pivotal presence, which is nothing but the soul. It's a fact. We see external things, what body does and what he does, which is also done by gunas. And whatever is done, even by us, it doesn't touch the pivot, which is the inside presence. It is unaffected. So therefore, we must drop all likes and dislikes and be free inwardly. Why all these likes and dislikes come means whatever is done, that kartutva bhava, I am doing. So I don't like this. So we feel that I am doing that kartutva. What this says, it's all done by nature's gunas. So this clarity should be there. So what is the means? That is to be, to drop all the likes and dislikes means to understand this. That is, what is the means? The means for this is the twofold spiritual wisdom. That is, gunas are natures and the soul is transcendental and unaffected by nature's activity. When you say soul, it is I, Brahman, Atman, totally unaffected. And the gunas around this, they activate and animate the body. So I have nothing to do and I am unaffected. That is my real nature. So one with this clear perceptions attain the supreme, Krishna says in this sloka. So the attains means what? Clearly understanding. Attains, which is just a word is used. That means understanding that I am that. Because attains appears to be, it has a movement and all. No, I am that. I am unaffected. Everything is done by the gunas. So this clarity, of course, for which a lot of this mananam and nididhyasana, we have to reflect upon this, and till the clarity comes, one has to work mentally on this and get the total clarity. So then the word attain, no, he himself is the supreme, whoever has this clear perception. He cannot be anything else. That's why we say, Am Brahmasmi. Everybody, I is only one, that is Brahman. So this clarity, once it is understood, automatically the gunas also will be influenced by this thought. Again, third chapter, I think last two verses, 42 and 43, I think. He talks about Arjuna asked some question, whatever happens once in a while, I do some papa karyas and other things. I do. What to do for that? He says, understand this. The supreme is that whatever you see in the world, my sense organs are superior to that. Mind is superior to sense organ because mind only activates the sense organ. And superior to sense organ and intelligence is that if it is clearly understood, the papa and other thing which is done because of Rajoguna, it won't have any effect. Not that he won't do, even if it does, he becomes Gunatita. He will not say, I am doing this. That's why the main this thing is, Arjuna feels that if I kill so many people, including my teacher and grandfather, he feels, no, it's all happening. It's not done by you. To make it clear only, the gunas, this thing is brought in and explained so clearly. This is an extreme case. So other smaller things, if it's, we must be able to understand and be like that without kartrutva. It's all happening. Nothing can be done, and it's everything is an appearance in my own consciousness. So this clarity is important. Then this 20th sloka, it becomes so obvious. Once the understanding is there, that the Sattvika Bhava, which we saw in the 20th verse, it's automatic. He says everywhere this alone can be seeing. That means this that singular presence, the non-dual presence, it is there everywhere in everybody. That alone, including the gunas, it is not different from that. We simply call it Purusha and Prakriti, or Shiva and Shakti. Here it's called Girija. Girija is nothing but that dynamic part, which we call as Prakriti. Static part is that which just remains like that, Shiva. So Shiva and Shakti or Purusha, Prakriti, it's all same. Brahman, Maya, one is dynamic. So both are that only. When the clarity is there, this particular thing is it's so easily understood, and no thinking is required at all. It becomes so obvious. Whatever is done, it is your aradhana. Whatever I speak, it is your sotra. Like that. We need not every time think. It becomes so obvious. We don't think that I am so and so. Sometime in the young age, that name was given and it remains. Every time you don't think, I am so and so, I am a body, I am man and all. So it's become so obvious. Same thing here. Once it is understood, that also will become, every time we need not think at all. Initially, for doing sadhana, it is required. Otherwise, it's obvious, nothing else. So this is a particular sloka. That's why it is told. It is probably the key sloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So with this understanding, let's go to verse 23. Niyatam sangarahitam aradveshata kritam apala prepsuna karma yattat satvikam uchyate. So this sattvic action, it talks about action, this particular sloka. This sattvic action is said to be that action which is said to be, it is obligatory action, which is devoid of attachment and which is performed without likes and dislikes by one who is not desirous of result. He doesn't bother about the result, whatever it is, success or failure. So this action, Krishna defines as sattvic action. Let's see these 3 points. This action which is obligatory and which is devoid of attachment and which is performed without likes and dislikes by one who is not desirous of result. So with this sloka, the 3 types of karma, and the word karma means action. In this verse 23, sattvic karma is defined. Then we will go to Rajasa and Tamasa in the next 2 verses. Krishna says, Niyatam karma sattvikam. Niyatam karma means actions specially prescribed in the scriptures. Niyatam means specially prescribed. What is meant by specially prescribed action? The scriptures prescribe certain special actions exclusively for the sake of spiritual growth or for the sake of inner maturity, exclusively for the sake of developing value. growth, and we have seen in the 16th chapter itself that self-knowledge is possible only in a mind which enjoys the values of life. And the values were enlisted as Daivi Sampat. We saw that in the 16th chapter. Asuri Sampat and Daivi Sampat. All the values can be developed if a person performs those actions, specially prescribed actions, karmas. They are all Sattvika karma, Nishkama karma, or Vihita karma. Something like Panchamaha Yajnam. There are many yajnam. When we saw yajna, dana, tapa, this point we saw. Yajna means that only. But it's a prescribed karma. The Sattvika karma comes under that. Then the next condition for Sattvika karma is Sangha Rahitam. We know what is Sangha, attachment. When a person does noble karmas or Sattvika karmas, which is service type karma, contributory type of karma, one should remember that karma or action, it's not an end in itself. Our ultimate aim is systematic Vedantic study. So it slowly takes us to that level. So if a person is service oriented, Krishna says, you go on serving. In due course, you should learn to withdraw the karmas also gradually. Why? We have to spend more time in self-inquiry. Therefore, do not get attached to these karmas also. Whichever is required, let us do it. But don't get attached. So use the karmas to purify ourselves. See, most of the karmas prescribed in the Veda Bhaga of, and the Vedanta is nonsense. So the Veda Purva Bhaga talks about the karmas which we have to do. That is for purification of mind. So, but there are many ritualistic people. Of course, they are very great, but they never come to Vedanta. They go on doing ritualistic activities till the end. Therefore, Krishna is warning. You should know how to transcend. That's why he calls Sangha Rahitam. Don't get attached to the particular karma. No, I must do it this year. This has come earlier. All these things. It is okay as till your mind is purified and ready to take up other studies, Vedantic studies, and Vedantic Vichara, and all these things. And the next aspect for Sattvika karma is Aragadvesha, Aragadvesha Kritam. These Sattvika karmas are performed without Ragadvesha. We know Ragadvesha, likes and dislikes. That is without any worldly motives. Those karmas are not done for changing external world or circumstances. The difference between Sattvika karma and Rajasa karma is, in Rajasa karma, I want to gain happiness by changing the surroundings. If I do all those things, I'll be happy. The Ragadvesha oriented karma is Rajasa karma. It is based on Ragadvesha. Rajasa karma is based on the fundamental misconception that my improvement is based on change of the circumstances, surroundings. Whereas Satvika karma is based on the fundamental philosophy, happiness depends upon transforming myself, my knowledge, my attitude toward myself, my attitude toward the world. So, this clarity, Krishna says, Karma Yogi is interested in transforming himself. Mind purity and clearly understand himself. Therefore, aragadveshata kritam. Ragadvesha, aragadvesha. Without this ragadvesha. Then, apalaprepsuna kritam. Phalam, aphalam. So it is done without expecting or expectation of any external benefit. Phala means external benefit, result. So there is no expectation here for getting favorable result and all this. What he expects, if at all there is an expectation, is self-transformation or jnana yogita prapti. But he does not have any external materialistic expectations. If I do this, I may get this and all. And therefore, apalaprepsu means, which is a byproduct, is when I do all these things, better health, the karma yogi will have better health. Even doctors are prescribing karma yoga for heart patients, it seems, so that there won't be any pressure. So, apalaprepsu, satvika karmi, apalaprepsu meaning, is talked about. Satvika karma is done by a person who is not desirous of material results. And yat karma, such an action is called Satvika karma. And this is possible only when a person is sufficiently enlightened to understand that the problem is only with me. That requires to become a karma yogi. A person requires a fundamental understanding that the problem is not with the world, the problem is with me. Therefore, the change required is not outside, it is inside. So such action, it is called Satvika karma. See, like that it goes, every term. Earlier we saw sannyasa, then jnana. So what is Satvika jnana, what is Rajasic, and why we, study and understand all these things. It is quite obvious is that Satvika is the best, and the middle one is Rajasic, and Tamasic is not. No, we have to rather give away or leave all the Tamasic karmas. It is, we know that, but still it happens because it's not done by us. It is because of the phala, that is now the gunas of Prakriti. To give a particular phala or a particular person, it is very difficult to understand why it is happening to him like this, and for him why it is happening like this. Means we will know when we are able to follow it till the end. Earlier also we have seen Rama was asked to go and he went to Paras because finally he has to kill Ravana, who was, taken away Sita and all this thing. So it has to happen. That's why Rama had to go to Paras. So every action, if you see the stories or these scriptures, all other things like Ramayana and Mahabharata, we will be wondering why it is happening to him like this. We will know if we follow till the end, it is for a particular worldly benefit or a particular person's benefit. It has to happen, it has happened. Very difficult to say. Otherwise, we are continuously asked why he is a nice fellow, he is, for him it is happening like that and all. So that's why the gunas which propels all actions, we feel, oh, this we are doing, we must try to avoid this and all. We know which is good or bad, not only for mind, even for body. Which food you should take, it is good for you, and which food is not good for you. Knowing perfectly well, even bodily thing, that means the food. We give some exception and take, so you can't take sweet, you can't take ice cream, means always we give exception and take. We are not able to be so strict. So because it's all happening because of gunas. You have nothing to do with that. Some people will continue like that. And for some reason. So we need not bother about that. So it's all happening. That's what the 19th verse of 14th, it's so important. Everything is happening. That the person who has understood this and who has understood that real I, that Supreme, is beyond all this. That Supreme is I. So I am beyond all this thing. It's all happening because of gunas. Whatever way you practice, always this thing will come out. Then again, why it is happening? I am trying, but it's not happening. Even food, we are not able to control things. It's controlled by gunas, not by you. Then think about mind. Many people were not able to sit closing their eyes even for 5 minutes. It's not, you can't blame them. Gunas, that vibration is so, so much, they won't be able to do. But after some time, see, these gunas, they go on changing. It's not that it will continue. All the three gunas, it goes on changing. That's why we try to, we means what? To be in Sattvic guna as much as possible. Even if you try, when we are in Rajasic or plus Tamo guna, we won't even listen to this. When we are in Sattvic guna and somebody says or you read something, we take action because Sattvic guna is bright. So it understands and it tries to do. Otherwise, when we are in the grip of other two gunas, we won't even listen. That is a thing. So that's why for whether it is spiritual activities or even any good activities, even study, everybody says whatever you learn today, immediately go and read in all these things in the night and try to understand. Don't postpone. How many of the students they do this? It's not possible for all. He must have that, that Sattvic guna at the time. He will follow. Out of 40 students, there will be only 2 like that. It is like that. So everything is happening because of that. So, but we should not leave. We should try to be in Sattvic guna as much as possible. That's why these spiritual people, they do all those chanting and all these things. It indirectly helps to these Rajoguna people to go up. It is only indirect method. Directly, it is just not possible. Whatever you say, they won't even listen. They means even when I am in the grip of those, I will not listen. I will not read. I won't even do sadhana properly. So, but after doing such a long time, probably the Sattvika Guna, it helps. For that only, that always you see that practice, when you practice or when you take up spiritual pursuit, one should have a guru. Otherwise, we may postpone or we let's do later. That sort of attitude will be there. So to avoid that, so morning the particular chanting, it all helps a lot. Otherwise, these people will be wondering why go on doing daily same Sahasranama and all these things and chanting other prayers. It helps a lot. That is the only way to keep up the Sattvika Guna for a longer time. It is very essential. So slowly we understand that, and that we will get the effect also. So then we try to keep up ourselves in that state for a longer time. Even after learning so many things, if some other thing comes, we give priority for that. You may be doing all spiritual thing regularly, but when your son comes or some relative, let's go, it's a good picture, and all these things, we drop and immediately take up. So that Dhriti, we will see later. Dhriti also, there are 3 types. That willpower, one has to slowly develop that. We will be able to develop only through this Sattvika Guna. For that one, that's why it is so much time spent for up to 40th verse. All these 3 are so clearly explained. Oh, I see, because of totally we are doing this. Otherwise, we won't know why I went for that. So, for that understanding, once we understand, we will be able to apply. Again, here we means guna-oriented only. When we are in Sattvik level, that Sattvika guy, if I am that level, otherwise I don't require any of this thing. I am always free, always present. I don't require any of, and they don't affect me at all. I know that. But that it never thinks. That's why it created mind, Prakriti, through these gunas. So, without guna, even, who says Aham Brahmasmi? Real I will not tell. Aham Brahmasmi. So when the mind and the consciousness, they are always together. They are not different. They are always together. When we practice and the thoughts, initially you may have, say, per minute, about 4 or 5 thoughts. Because of our practice, it goes on, it gets reduced. Slowly. Then we are able to be like that for 6 or 7 minutes continuously. So at that time, the so-called, which we call as mind, which is nothing but thoughts, it gets reduced. When it is in the last, a small, millimeter size, that says Aham Brahmasmi. It understands, not says Aham Brahmasmi. Otherwise, after that real Brahman, the real Atma, it doesn't tell. It's not necessary for it to tell. So at that level, it understands. Telling is also not the right word. It understands. Then that last bit of so-called mind, thought, it drops. This is explained in Upadesa Sahasri, this thing, how it becomes so small and things, then it leaves like that. Afterwards, as we are in sleep, we again, we have told this. When we are in deep sleep, we never say, I am peacefully sleeping. Because there is no mind, there is no expression. Functional expression is absent. When we get up, we say, I slept peacefully today. No disturbance. All this. Same thing here. Unless mind is there. Let's say we are in a particular samadhi. In the maximum the 4 or 5 minutes. When we stay there, during that, absolute no thought. Afterwards, we will be able to say, Appa, that 10 minutes, absolutely, it was superb and all those things. For that, mind is required, which is nothing but a product of the consciousness. We call it functional expression of consciousness. So that is required. So when so afterward, the mind also, once it is understood, it's not a disturbance. Even thoughts, it's not a disturbance. So let it come and go, because it is clearly understood. It's its job. Till the body is there, mind will be there, and it's so many vasanas will go on. Based on that, thoughts will come. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't disturb. So all these so-called gunas, whatever it does, so the gunatita means, again Gita, it comes, try to be a gunatita. To Arjuna, I forgot the sloka. So that means what? Not totally devoid of these gunas. Even if the guna comes, they don't touch me. That understand. Because gunas will continue as long as the body is there. The body and the thoughts that this is the world, this also we have seen. Rajoguna, Rajoguna projects the world. Projects means what? In the consciousness itself, the world appears. That is because. And the Tamoguna brings the thought, I am the body. Actually, I don't have anything to do with all this because I am that. So these are all just happenings. Especially Tamoguna, that thought, I am the body, is brought in by Tamoguna. Otherwise, people go on telling, no, you are thinking that you are the body. I don't think. I am always free. I am thoughtless all the time. So this brings, and it's a play. Who brings? The Prakriti. Prakriti is nothing but my own dynamic power. So this clarity, when it comes, nothing touches us. Even now, nothing touches, because we associate ourselves with these worldly activities. Associate ourselves means because of gunas. Always we have to remember that. I don't associate myself with this gunas. So when the clarity comes, absolutely no guilty feeling, or we don't even think that we have to do some this thing. So this is actually the realization means only this only. You can't. So I'm all the time like this. When you say I have to remember, means it's not experience. Once it is once we experience that, you don't have to remember. As I told you, we never remember our name or I am the body. That thought, it's not all the time it is there. Once it is understood, same thing. For the realized people, it will be like that. I am that, and these are going. That will continue. That bhava will continue. So, what Ramana in his Upadesasara, he says, Aniya Bhavatin. Aniya means Aniya Bhavatin, Avan Agamahum, Ananya Bhavame. Avan means that Atma, that Supreme, that becomes I. That's what we saw now. That is Atma Tvam, means you are my Atma. That's why we are making Aniya Bhavatin. It is that instead of telling that is Brahman or that is God, Aham Brahmasmi. So Aniya Bhavatin, instead of telling that you make it Avan Ahamagam. That becomes I. Aham means that inside. So this sort of Ananya Bhava, there is no other. Everything is that only. So Ananya Bhavame, this is Anittinam Uttamam Undipara. This is the ultimate. And because of this Bhava Balatina, because of this Bhava, after go on chanting and thinking like this for some time, that bhavanatita, afterwards you can drop this bhava. You can mean bhava will get dropped. You don't have to drop. Bhava balatinal bhavanatita sadbhava tiruthala. That means all the time it's clear that I am in existence. Satbhava. Satchit Ananda. Satbhava. All the time I am like that only, that understanding. Sadbhava tiruthala undi para. Parabhakti Tattvam undi. This is the ultimate bhakti. When we say, even that earlier prayer, Atmatvam, we saw that. Mati Girja and all. It's not the particular Shiva and all. See, in the bhakti stage, we think, oh, I am, so everything, what I do is for him and all. That's why first itself it says, Ahantvam, I am you. So whatever the body does, whatever the sense organs does, it's all for your sake. They are all your servants. They go around you. They all the time they are chanting whatever they talk. So that clarity. So bhava balatinal bhavanati the sadbhava. This is the real bhakti. In Viveka Chodamani also it is there. In the early stages itself. Bhakti means initially, you have to temple going and all these things with daily chanting, so many things externally. But once it is understood, I am with that means. So everything you call it, whether it is bhakti or jnana or karma, everything same. That also Ramana says, உதித்த இடத்தில் ஒடுங்கி இருத்தல் அது கர்மம் பக்தியும் உந்தி பெற அதியோக ஞானமும் உந்தி பெற. அந்த உதித்த இடம் தான் we call it பாவ பலத்தினால் பாவனா தீத. Beyond this bhava and all, sadbhava tiruthala. So all the time I am in sadbhava. That I am that only. That clarity. When that clarity comes, all these slokas also, there is no necessity to even chant. It is for understanding. So that sort of bhava, it is all the time it remains. So with that we stop. I thought I will one more sloka. Anyway, we'll always time is there. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya
पूर्णमेवा वशिष्यते. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः.
Yes, please.